What's going on? Welcome to Shred Gaming and part 3 of my predictions for the starting roster for ProjectL. So if you haven't already been watching the series, in these videos I lay out who is realistically going to most likely be in the starting roster for ProjectL, based off of these characters' legacy, how iconic they are, and how they've been used in recent media. I believe there's going to be a 24 count roster. That's based off of how many characters are currently in the game, which is a lot, 162 to be exact. Currently, there's already been 6 confirmed characters based off Riot's dev videos. And if you haven't already watched part 1 and 2, I encourage you to go back and watch those. It doesn't take away from this video at all, but I always save the best for last, which is going to be in this video. And with that being said, let's get after it. Coming in at number 1, my favorite top laner in the game, Sett the Boss. From poverty to crime lord, Sett fought his way to the top in the pits of Navori. Sett is a brawler and uses his punches to deal massive damage. He pulls his opponents in with his face break ability and does a massive takedown with his ultimate, the Showstopper. In ProjectL, Sett is going to be your grappler style player. He'll be an in-your-face bully that does heavy hitting combos, counters and reversals for defense, and will be full of those unblockable command grabs that everyone loves to use and hates to play against. And coming in at number 2, Master Yi, the Wuju bladesman. Master Yi is one of the original League of Legends champions. Since season 1, he has been an unstoppable assassin slash fighter. He uses a multiple target hitting ability called Alpha Strike that also makes you untargetable. He can partially heal himself with his meditation ability, and his ultimate ability, Highlander, buffs his attack speed and movement speed while also making him immune to slows and stuns. In ProjectL, Master Yi will be a combo dealing monster, an in-your-face fighter that uses heavy mix-ups that are impossible to read and uses Alpha Strike ability to get behind or above you, which makes him impossible to defend. And coming in at number 3 on my list, Garen the Might of Demacia. A proud and noble member of the Demacian Vanguard, Garen has been one of the strongest top laners since season 1. This beefy warrior has massive amounts of HP, and his passive regenerates his health when he is not in combat. He is known for his whirlwind ability called Judgment, in which he spins with his sword, causing damage to anyone in his path. And his ultimate execution ability is Judgment, where he calls down a giant sword upon a single target. In ProjectL, Garen will be the counterpart to Darius. Garen will be another big-bodied character, but where Darius is a brutal and ruthless axe wielder, Garen will fight with honor and justice with his sword. Garen will be a mid to close range fighter who will utilize his whirlwind attack to cause damage, but will also act as a vacuum to pull you in if close enough, and will also cause you to be invulnerable unless attacked from a jump in. I do want to say real fast that upon my speculations is how I think that these players will play upon them being put in the game, I do like to give balances. I realize that the way I'm describing them right now is kind of overpowered. Speaking of overpowered, let's go to my 4th pick and my favorite pick of this entire series, Irelia the Blade Dancer. Irelia is trained in the ancient dances of her homeland, which allows her to levitate and control a group of deadly blades. She is the embodiment of utility. She has a shield, a stun, and her most notable ability, her dash. Her dash has a unique trait in which if she dashes on an enemy, and if that enemy is stunned or slowed, or that dash kills that enemy, the dash is automatically reset. Gosh, how many times can I say dash? Yes, she is a dash champion. For her ultimate, she throws a massive amount of blades at an enemy that explodes into an arrowhead shape. If hit by a blade or you step through one, you are slowed, in which Irelia can dash, and that dash will also be reset. Having watched Irelia in League of Legends and how I just described her, this already sounds like a fighting game character. Not only will she be a dash champion, but every one of her abilities in League can be translated over to a fighting game. She can have a shield which will make her immune for a time, but she cannot attack. She'll have a slow if the opponent lands between her blades that she sets down on the ground, and of course her dash, which also if her opponent is stunned or slowed, she can reset her dash. Being a blade dancer, Irelia will be a mid-range combo heavy, mix of heavy fighter. However, to balance this amount of utility and ability, she will have to have low HP, and her basic attacks will have to be low damage considering her high hit combos. And 5th on the list, we got Jax, the Grandmaster of Arms. Now, Jax's lore has been changed. Originally, in the league, Jax was too good of a fighter that they took away all of his weapons and nerfed him by giving him a lamppost to use. That to me was an awesome lore. There was a lot of mystery behind him and not much to say about his background, only that he is the master of weapon fighting, and he was too good that they had to give him a lamppost to use. In the new Jax lore, there's a little bit more to Jax now. They gave him like a background in his homeland and everything, and basically his new lore is he goes around picking fights with strong fighters to try to recruit them into fighting for him against the Void for his homeland. Sure, it's a little bit more complex, but to be honest, I like the simplicity and the mystery behind the old Jax, and just the fact that you took away his weapons and gave him a lamppost to fight with is freaking awesome. But in League of Legends, Jax is a very strong utility champion. He has his leap ability to reach his enemies, a shield that protects him from incoming attacks, and if you are within range after a delay, his shield will stun opponents around him. In ProjectL, Jax will also be a utility fighter, but where Irelia is mid-ranged, fast, and agile, Jax will be a much more balanced and close range fighter. His shield will protect him, but just like in League, if you are too close, after a delay, it will stun his opponent. His leap ability will close the gaps for heavy hitting combos. If Jax makes it into the roster, I can see him being a go-to champion for anybody who wants a very well-balanced fighter that anyone can succeed with. And last on the list, you guessed it, everybody knows it, Vi the Piltover Enforcer. Whether you play League or watch the Netflix series, Vi is probably the most popular character in the entire franchise right now. Vi is a fiercely strong boxer style fighter that uses her Hextech gauntlets as a Piltover Enforcer. She goes by the philosophy of
punch first. Ask questions while punching.
Vi was raised in poverty in the Piltover Undercity of Zaun. She now partners with and oftentimes disagrees with Caitlyn, but together they enforce justice on the criminals of Piltover. Vi is a fighter champion who uses her charging dash ability to close gaps, stun opponents, and cause heavy damage. She also has her armor breaker ability that allows every third attack to break armor, so she deals more damage and it increases her attack speed. And finally, her ultimate ability, Cease and Desist. It targets an opponent in which she makes a beeline towards that target, pushing aside anyone in her way and slamming her target on the ground. Already, this sounds like a fighting game champion, and to be honest, it kind of sounds like what would be a grappler style champion, but I actually see Vi as a boxer style champion, in which she will rely on that in-your-face pressure, heavy mix-up, and feints to outsmart and outplay her opponents. Vi will be a bully in ProjectL. However, to balance that out, I think she will lack in defense, and although she hits hard, she will be very slow. And that's it. That wraps it up. That will be my starting roster that I realistically think will be in the game. This is not based off of my personal opinion, but what me and few others have thought this is going to be realistically what Riot would choose for their starting roster. So please comment down below, tell me what you think, if you agree, if you disagree. Did I miss somebody that you think is going to be in the starting roster, or is there somebody that I listed that you absolutely 100% do not think is going to make it to the starting roster? And stay tuned for the next video in which I will go over some honorable mentions that actually made it into this list that I actually substituted for others that I think deserve that spot more. And until next time, Shred out.